Has working with the government lost its romanticism? Sounds like you need a matchmaker, and Govmates is certainly not your mother's matchmaking business. They are driving innovation and small business participation into the defense industrial base with a romantic flair that working with the government hasn't had in a long time.
My name is Katie Billick. I'm co-founder of Govmates and here with my partner, Stephanie Alexander.
Hi, I'm Stephanie Alexander, co-founder of Govmates along with Katie. The dynamic duo, as some have called us, in good or bad terms. Not sure which, depends on the person, I think.
Awesome. Well, I'm super excited to be talking to you both. I mean, I remember when I first heard about Govmates, it was the catchy "Not Your Mother's Matchmaking," slogan that just really hooked, I think, everyone in the industry. It's, not often you hear something so bold and put there right out front. I love
Thank
it.
you.
So, Stephanie, in your own words, what role does Govmates play in facilitating relationships between government contractors and government customers?
So we always joke around that we are like Match.com for GovCon. Of course, we will never put that in writing, and please don't sue us, Match.com. We made it very flattering. We're connectors. We believe in the power of teaming. We believe in the power of putting people together, whether that be from ecosystem resources to teaming partners. Honestly, we are better together, especially in the small business community. So ultimately what we do is connect people to facilitate introductions that hopefully are revenue generating for all.
And I'll put the same question to you, Katie. What role does Govmates, in your own words, play in facilitating relationships between government customers and government contractors?
Sure. So I would say that our passion really stems from supporting small businesses and non-traditional defense contractors. So we want to help increase their visibility for teaming and procurement opportunities in the federal space. We do take a very formulaic and methodical approach to connecting folks. So really, we solicit requests from buyers using matchmaking language. So those are typically large systems integrators, defense primes, as well as government agencies. And whatever their needs are, we are matching them up to small businesses and non-traditionals based upon what their needs are. So whenever we can put a small business or non-traditional in front of other potential teaming partners, we consider that a win.
Awesome. I mean, it sounds like Govmates works with a lot. 4,500 non-traditional businesses. That can make some pretty large events. What do you typically suggest companies do to prepare for an event like Govmates?
So we're known for our matchmaking, and because we do take a formulaic and methodical approach, we don't believe in wasting people's time or money. We have neither, right? Nor does anyone else. Nobody has extra time these days, and definitely don't have never enough money, right? So for us, we believe in connecting people where it makes sense. We don't want to waste your time. So when we do our matchmaking and when we do match people, we take a formulaic and methodical approach, as I mentioned. It's because the buyer or the person who has the need has given us the capabilities that they're looking for, and the seller, the person who could potentially provide it, has those needs. So while we have a lot of Govmates, we have it's Katie, keep me honest here, is at 4,700 now, I think, and growing between small businesses, non-traditionals, and we also have mid-tiers and large guys as well. But generally, we focus on the small business partners. When we ask them to come to our matchmaking events or when they sign up and they are matched, it's with purpose. So I always tell people, come with your A game. You have 10 minutes to make an impression. Please don't give me your life story. Please don't start off with how you got started in the garage and blah, blah, blah. Please don't start off with whatever your set-aside status is. No one cares. Tell us what you can do to help solve a problem, and do so succinctly and quickly, and make a good first impression. This meeting, when we do matchmaking, is really just to get you to the next meeting. We align it as like the coffee date, right? Like, let's get you to lunch. Let's get you to an NDA. Let's get you maybe to a teaming discussion. Let's get you further down the path. Do not tell your life story in these 10 minutes. Nobody cares. Tell me how you're going to solve my problem. Done.
So, Katie, should I expect to come out with a contract?
If you've been in the federal space long enough, you know nothing happens overnight. Nothing happens in a week, much less a span of a couple of years. I would like to add on to Stephanie's point about how you approach events and how you approach positioning yourself in the federal marketplace. And we see this mistake made by small businesses so often is they try to say that they do everything, and no one can do everything. Even the largest of integrators can't do everything. So if you focus on the one or two things that you do really well, maybe it's program management and acquisition support, or maybe it's cybersecurity and information assurance. Whatever that is, hone in on that capability and emphasize that as your sweet spot. Because no customer wants to know that you can do their janitorial services as well as the, data warehousing. So ultimately, you have to draw lines and focus on what you're really good at, and then build out your presence from there. So walking away with a contract immediately, no. But like Stephanie said, this is the coffee date. The coffee date to get to the dinner date, to get to the engagement, to get to the marriage, to building those long-term relationships. The one thing that I love about this space is that everyone is truly in it to support the mission and to support the customer. And so as long as you're coming to it with that approach, you'll build those right relationships, you'll get into the right verticals, and you'll win work.
So, I mean, I've never found a coffee date particularly challenging, but I'm sure that there's small businesses and non-traditionals that are having some struggles, and either in these matchmaking events or preparing for them or even following up. What are some of the biggest challenges that you're seeing some of these small businesses face?
I think relevancy and doing their homework ahead of time. So if you have the name of the person that you're meeting with, or even the company name, and you can do your research, where do they have contracts? What 20 minutes in Google, and you can find out a lot of things, right? At least to come to the table slightly more educated than zero prep. Don't focus solely on you. Focus on what they're doing and how you can help them. How can you be of service? It No large contractor, especially the system integrators or SIs, they don't want to hear that you're a insert here, woman owned, SDV, OSB. Like everybody's got all the certs. Nobody cares about that. That comes later. That comes in your certs and reps. That comes when we actually fill out the paperwork. What we care about is how you can solve problems and how we can solve problems together and potentially team to provide a better solution to the federal government. And that's where the magic happens, right? So spend your time on the important things. The important things are how to solve problems. The not important things are the paperwork aspect. Figure that stuff out offline.
And what are some of the challenges that you see most frequently, Katie?
I would say there's so many different opportunities in the federal space, and small businesses, really anyone, you're constrained by time, right? That is a precious resource. So one of the biggest decisions that a lot of people miss out on is the bid, no bid decision. And they may decide to bid on something and pursue something just because everyone else and their brother is bidding on and pursuing an opportunity. And you have to get a feel for the customer, for the procurement, to see if it's a right fit for you. Yes, everyone else may be bidding on it, but that may not be a very good use of your resources. So I think the bid, no bid decision is actually critical for small businesses so you can be efficient and effective.
And Katie, I would add that it's yes, the no bid, but that's a constant evolution, right? The latest amendment may have you change the teaming partner, the rate structure, the work share agreement. Don't think of it as a binary yes, no, and we never revisit that decision. That's a lot of investment for B&P dollars. That's G&A that could be used to other resources, other bids. And as Katie said, just because you think all the cool kids are going after it, just because it's a huge GWAC does not mean that you too are going to lose out on this wonderful opportunity. If it's not right for you, no bid.
I think that's incredibly relevant given that we've seen things that are taking much longer and costing a lot more, I think, than folks might have thought.
CIOS before.
Maybe after some
Flares coming out. Yes.
Right. I think that's a struggle both on the government side and on the contractor side, because contractors are putting in so much effort on these big bids. But I mean, you're not just matchmaking with non-traditional businesses. You're also working with the government customers, and you're bringing them to the table. So, I mean, really, what are some of the are they coming prepared? What are some of the challenges that you're seeing them facing coming into these events?
Katie, what's your
I'll let Katie
I
take
was
it
about to
over.
say, Katie, what's your opinion on the government's challenges? I always think it's still market research, and discovering new talent, if you will, or discovering commercial companies who may not be considering the federal government as a potential customer, and kind of, wooing them over to the dark side, I will say affectionately, of GovCon.
Yep, no, I think, Stephanie, you nailed it. A lot of the federal customers are interested in truly non-traditional organizations that haven't necessarily done work with the federal government before, but they have a cool, unique commercial capability or technology that could then be applied to their problem sets. Because while the government does have unique challenges, some of them aren't entirely unique to government. There are challenges faced by all types of organizations, especially large ones. So I think there's a lot of great kind of innovative approaches, processes, products, and technologies that are coming from industry, particularly the small and emerging companies. That's what the government is trying to gain access to. That is what they're trying to get more of. And sometimes it is just difficult and gaining access to those and finding those companies. I would say the silver lining of COVID is that it has normalized the concept of connecting virtually, so that all of these, virtual arenas have allowed those small, emerging, non-traditional players to come up out of the woodwork, and it's enabled the government customer to be able to touch them at least in a virtual setting, so that they can begin building that relationship.
I think that's been a game changer, and it's allowed people from all different walks of life and different capabilities to actually connect with government. I think that is one of the silver linings. Katie, I'm sorry, but my soapbox issue on this, Chelsea, is the fact that the government doesn't make it easy. Like, they don't make it easy to work with them, right? So it's really hard to lure people who are in the commercial market over to the government contracting market because of all the regulations, because of all the compliance. I mean, some days it's just scary being in federal contracting. And so providing, our kind of opinion is providing more avenues that allow commercial companies to play in the federal space to make those offerings is always beneficial. One of the things that comes to mind here, OTAs, right? Like, those are a contract vehicle that I think everybody gets all wound up about. It's not new. It's not illegal. There's nothing weird about it. It's actually a really cool tool that the government can use. Toy, maybe. I don't know. But we'd like to see more of that, right? Like, actually try to do things differently so that you can reach these commercial companies, because we don't make it easy in our industry at all.
I think that's funny. We call it a tool in the toolbox, but maybe we should call it a tool
I know,
in the
it might
toolbox,
be.
right?
It depends on your point of view and your acquisition strategy, potentially.
Exactly. So, what suggestions do you have for government customers that are coming to you? Do they have requirements for this new great technology, or is it pipe dreams?
What I would like to, my message is I would love to see people listen more, because listening to industry, taking in that feedback, hearing what everyone in the industry is doing, I think that is relevant and important for the government customer to digest. Yes, I understand that requirements definition is inherently a government function, but by listening to industry, hearing what they're doing, that can actually better help shape requirements to make them more digestible for industry. And we have 4,700 plus and growing non-traditional members, and we love hearing from them all the cool things that they're doing. We are amazed every day, and hearing about these new technologies and capabilities, and like, I had no idea something like that existed. So I just wish that the customer would listen more to what industry is doing, and hopefully that can better shape procurements.
And what are your suggestions, Stephanie?
I think much along the lines of what Katie said, not to completely echo it, but also, besides listening to industry and like best practices and been there, done that, and kind of throwing some ideas, being more collaborative with industry, We're not here to fight you. We're here to actually come up with a solution. So let's be more collaborative and work together as we talk through it before it goes through the procurement process. And we absolutely understand the rules. We think they're there for a reason. Nobody's arguing about that type of stuff. It's just more like, could we talk ahead of time? And could we be a little more open about things? That's what I would like to see. I'd also like to see more outreach and consideration for technology they didn't even know existed, right? So whether that's everyone in your agency has to spend one day a month, like learning about 2 new cool technologies that you didn't know, right? Or having a showcase of some sort. And not just a dog and pony, I'm doing it to check a box, but like there's actually a lot of really innovative things going on that really could solve problems. And so being open to the art of the possible and learning and staying on top of the game. The government is sometimes so woefully behind. It's like, we just want to get you up to speed, much less forward thinking, right? Like we want to get everybody on the same par and on the same playing field. Like it's only going to benefit the taxpayer, the warfighter, all the people, all the agencies, all the places, right? Like if we can apply what already exists in the commercial side or that is developing to the federal side.
Absolutely. I mean, and kind of touching on that, staying ahead of the game point and being more collaborative. I think Govmates just recent last year, announced the partnership with ATI. You want to talk a little bit about that?
Oh, we're super excited. So, so we signed up with ATI and developed our partnership last year. It kind of was something that seemed intuitive to both of us. First, we're very aligned from ethics perspective, along with just like the entire idea of collaboration. We believe so strongly in small businesses and innovative technologies and non-traditionals, and who better to actually collaborate with than the folks that are the consortium management firm for all of these innovative OTAs. So for us, I mean, it was just kind of like, I won't say match made in heaven, but potentially. Katie, what do you think?
No, one of the things that I love is they have over 19 active OT consortia, in addition to FAR-based collaborations. And so across those consortia, you have around 4,000 members, a majority of whom are non-traditional defense contractors, emerging companies that have really cool technology, who are either in the prototyping or R&D realm. And so typically how consortia are designed is that they are siloed within a specific technology vertical. And yes, you can be a member of multiple consortia, but one of the things that we're helping to bring to the table with them is facilitating collaboration across all of their consortia. So even if you may be a member of one, say countering weapons of mass destruction, you may have a capability that very much applies to the Information Warfare Project Consortium, or some of the National Armaments Consortium opportunities. So being able to match up non-traditionals, other consortium members across consortia where they can potentially find new customers, new opportunities, and new teaming partners, I mean, that's what we're all about, helping to connect folks. So it's been a lot of fun working with a lot of these innovative emerging companies and learning all the cool things that they do.
That sounds awesome. I mean, being able to take a technology from one technology focus area and apply it to another, is that something that you help facilitate? Are you looking for those matches? Is that a technological process you got? Tell me a little bit.
Well, absolutely. So that's part of the magic behind the matchmaking, right? So one company or one area might be focused solely, as Katie said, on this one vertical, but we're like, oh, wait, that capability could also be applied towards a completely different agency, a completely different problem, but it kind of utilizes the same types of skills. And so that's where we can come in, and that's where we can facilitate the collaboration across the field. So we get to see from the top level and go across versus just down each of the various OTs. So for us, that's really exciting to be able to bring opportunities to small businesses that they may not know about or have heard of. And let's face it, as I mentioned, we have no time, no money. And so there's a lot going on in federal contracting. And so if we can make them aware of something they might be great for, then that's one more thing that we've done to help.
And I would just add on that we are here to serve as a force multiplier for ATI and all of their consortia. ATI does an incredible job at their work in providing that acquisition support function and program management, all of their OT consortia. What we want to help do is to take that to the next level by helping their consortium membership to increase their visibility for opportunities in the federal space, be they within other OT
Beyond.
consortia or even beyond. As I mentioned earlier, we see the government customer constantly seeking out non-traditionals and commercial entities, a lot of whom are in these OT consortia. So if we can help these consortia members find opportunities, be it in the FAR-based realm with a government customer, it may not be related to a specific OT or maybe CSO or any other unique opportunity, but it's still a piece of federal work that helps them to grow their top line. So we're looking out for the members, and we want to help them grow.
So, out of curiosity, if I'm a Govmates member, how do I benefit from that ATI partnership? Am I automatically a member of all those consortia if I'm a Govmates member?
Unfortunately, no. You have to do a little bit of homework, and we can help you with that homework and finding out which one might be the right one for you. We would never recommend joining all of them. No, as Katie mentioned before, like you can't do everything, right? Like that doesn't make sense. And to really maximize, you really actually need to pay attention and what are the requirements coming out and meet other people as part of that consortia and talk to the customers and go to the industry days and do all of that. And you just won't have the bandwidth or actually the capabilities to spread across everything. But we're happy to have chats with people and kind of figure out what might be a good fit for them, what might be a good resource for them, and how they can best benefit from that perspective.
I know you all have been such an amazing resource for me personally, so I have to say, Govmates is it. But looking forward to the future, what's 22 hold? I know there's a whole bunch of talk about small business utilization going up, and this is the year of small business. Is that the same feeling you're getting?
Gosh, we hope so, man. I'm here for it. Like we are here. Like we've got 4,700 people that we want to bring to the tables. That we are ready for the government to actually really double down on small business and really see the deal flow go. We believe strongly that's where the innovation is. We've repeated it like 20 times, but we are so passionate about it. We love our small business partners and we love our folks. So if we can help them win more work, we're here for it.
What's next in 22? Are we seeing new partnerships? Are we going to be having our own consortia?
I don't think we'll have our own consortia. I think we've realized what we're really good at and what we are probably really not great at, and so that's why we've partnered with people who are really good at other things. And we believe strongly in our relationship with ATI. They have tons of past performance and know what they're doing. We're great and here for the collaboration, the teaming, the small business partners. We're also here as a resource for folks. So one of the benefits of being a Govmate is should you need anything, whether we understand teaming partners, of course, that's what we do. We're matchmakers, right? But you may need access to capital. You may need a SCIF space. You may need a proposal writer. You may need, a DCA approved accounting system or a new CPA, whatever that may be. We are here to be as helpful as possible and to provide those resources. And what we do, we provide introductions, right? Like we are always about the coffee date. We're here to get you to the next level, get you people that we know do a good job within the small business federal contracting community who understand GovCon. We do the intros and you guys are off to the races. Everyone makes their own procurement decisions. They go through their own process within their own companies, but we want to make sure that people are best represented and are poised for growth. We want to help you. We don't want to just like, hey, here's an introduction and we're out, right? Like we want to see people be successful, avoid the dreadful valley of death, avoid all the terms, all the things. We want to see people here for the next 5-year pop. We want to see the large contracts awarded. We want to see them actually size out. I know that sounds crazy, but we want to see you grow and we want to help you in doing that. And so our job is to help you be successful. And so that's something that we're very strong. We feel very strongly about. I see 2022 is doubling down on partnerships, being able to provide even more resources to our govmates, providing more information. We have training and education that I think is always interesting. We try and make it as lively as possible. We try not to kill you with compliance and actually give you the information that you need in a very quick and meaningful way so that you walk away with action items. And, we really want to help continue to pursue, go out, work with the government, do matchmaking with them, and continue to pursue with ATI and help even more of their members. Katie, what do you think?
I think 2022 will be defined by a lot of what we've seen COVID push us towards, which is supply chain weaknesses, and focusing really on compliance and the ability of vendors and subcontractors to execute. So we've seen a lot of changes on the regulatory front. There have been executive orders that are going to result in changes to the FAR that will change the behavior of federal contractors. And so I think 2022 is going to be about focusing on, for federal contractors, focusing on your own house as well, and making sure that you've got the infrastructure, that you've got the compliance in place to be able to adhere to all of these requirements that the government is going to be laying out. I think primes, those large systems integrators and defense primes, are going to be very much focused on making sure their suppliers, their subs, their vendors can meet all of these requirements. If not, they're going to shorten and narrow down those lists so that they have their chosen few that they team with. We very much understand why these regulations are in place and why they're going to be coming down with the hammer. But we also very much, as we've said this entire conversation, we are passionate about small businesses, and we want to find ways to help those small businesses to make it easier for them to do work with the federal government. It's not getting easier for them to work with the government. So how can we help really industry and government kind of meet halfway? How can we help find a way to engage with these small businesses and non-traditionals, knowing that it is increasingly an uphill battle for them from a compliance and regulatory perspective? And that is an ongoing discussion and conversation. It goes beyond 2022, but right now it's just the start of that.
And I mean, with the new administration and election year, of course, it is very much a start of that. And I have to say that, the work that Govmates is doing and reshoring our supply chain is hands down probably the most effort that I've seen in the industry to really get the small businesses what they need to succeed in this market, which is, just as Stephanie said earlier, oftentimes not exactly what you might think. An introduction might be it, or capital, or space, or co-working space, or access to a customer, or requirements holders. All of those things are just amazing resources that you really can't find really condensed anywhere else. So I have to say, you all are just doing the Lord's work. It's great. Yeah, in GovCon, a GovMates introduction is probably the warmest introduction that I think I've ever found. So I loved having you guys, and thank you guys so much for talking with me today. I'm so looking forward to what 2022 and beyond
Us
holds.
too. Thank you so much for having us.